was a full spectrum. You could pursue anything you were interested in.
Mhm.
And my mother is a poet. My mother is an arts activist and scholar. My father was a dentist. So there you have it. He was a dentist who loved theater, who loved music, So, and then I have a mother who's a poet who's very interested in space flight. Figure it out. And I grew up in a community of people who wanted young people to succeed, and not only succeed but to excel. That makes a huge difference. And part of my upbringing, the most memorable time for me was the summer of my 10th year spent in Chester, South Carolina, my mother's birthplace. That of all the summers in my childhood, that is the one that I remember most vividly.
Okay. So let's talk about Chester, South Carolina, and most specifically the Brainerd Heritage Institute.
Mm-hmm.
I went to college about 20 minutes from Chester, South Carolina, Winthrop University.
Oh,
So,
yes.
yes.
Oh, yes. My Aunt Bessie she was a professor of mathematics there before she entered the state Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Bessie Lewis Moody.
I'm familiar with the Moody family.
Yes, Katrina
her
and Leah
daughter.
Bess.
Yeah, I know Leah Moody. We went to church together.
Yeah, that's her mama. And so when I was in Chester as a 10-year-old, she had just graduated high school and was on her way to college.
Mm-hmm.
And Brainerd Institute, what remained of Brainerd Institute, was just across the street from the house. And this was the house that my mother and all of her siblings were born in. You know what I don't know if young people today experience that the way so many young people in my generation did, where you could go to your grandparents' house and know that this is the house that everybody was born in.
I can speak from experience. I was born in my grandfather's house, lived there for probably the first 4 or 5 years. And of course, with grandparents, they never throw anything away. So he still has pictures from 50, 60 years ago, just sitting around in a living room and in a den. So yeah, that's like my personal museum. When I'm in Beaufort, I go visit him.
See, it's heritage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Brainerd is, and that's what Brainerd represents. It's heritage. It's a heritage of. It's a legacy of people, their stories. It's a legacy of education. It's a legacy of community. And now Brainerd Institute Heritage is the organization that is carrying that legacy forward with preschool literacy in the summertime for the children in and around Chester. And it's absolutely free. We couldn't have it this year because of the pandemic. Right. This would have been our 4th year. But we acquired the Brainerd property in I think it was 98. And my mother, Vivian Ayers, set about the task of restoring that one remaining building, Kumler Hall. When I was a little girl, there were at least 4 buildings left on that campus. And we used to go down to Marquis and Cemetery Street to that one building that's had on the corner every night. We had a canteen down there at night. We would drink soda and dance. It was great. It was so memorable. I remember that. That seems like nothing to kids today. I mean, they got all these video games and things. But at that time, it was the sweetest.